Welcome back to the Tampa Bay Rowdies podcast, episode 6, still undefeated. Tampa Bay Rowdies win over the weekend. They go on the road in Jacksonville, win the game in dramatic fashion. We learned even more about this team. They continue to find ways to win, even when it looks like things are stacked up against them. Jacksonville played super defensive, but they were able to chip through, end up getting the win. Exciting fashion. Hopefully you caught it if you've seen the replay of Evan Conway's goal. He'll be our guest on the podcast this week because it just makes sense. And, yeah, Tampa Bay Rowdies are undefeated.
So was there like 30 seconds left or something when he scored that goal? Do you think that both sides started to kind of feel like the results were in?
Well, I think what I loved about it was usually when you're on the road and it's late in the game like that, a lot of teams will sit back and be like, you know what, we're on the road, we'll take our point. Because the theory is like if you get 3 points if you get 3 points at home and you can manage like 1 point on the road, you're going to have an incredible season.
Jacksonville just wanted that 1 point though.
That's the logic. But Jacksonville was the team that was playing more defensive, and the Rowdies continued to press. A lot of their subs that they made were offensive-minded, which you saw. They ended up scoring. Conway ends up scoring the goal. He comes off the bench. Everybody involved in that goal was on the bench at some point in the game, so they stepped up. But they just continued to press, got the result, a game that looked like it was destined for 0-0. I actually said that to someone in the 35th minute. I was like, oh, this is going to be a 0-0 just slugfest. But they ended up finding a way.
Do you enjoy a 0-0 slugfest or 0-0, as they like to say, because, your background as a keeper?
Not all 0-0 games are treated equal.
They're not all the same.
Right.
Okay.
So this game was a little bit – I felt like this 0-0 game was Jacksonville was playing extremely defensive, so there weren't a lot of exciting, fun moments. But, when you get a 0-0 game where the goalies are making tons of saves, the game's wide open, and it's just neither team can score, I don't mind those. But the games, especially if you're broadcasting, the ones that are like, oh, well, Jacksonville's playing really defensive, how are the Rowdies going to get around them? Those are the games that are a little bit tough.
So what is your assessment for how the team played overall? Because I know last week you thought that they left maybe a few goals on the board. We know how Jacksonville was playing on this one. They were just trying to get, I think, their first point of the year, so they were holding on for dear life. So what's your assessment of this team through, 4 games so far?
I think that the main thing I could take away is just the character of the group, because they've seen a little bit of everything. Everything's been a little bit different. Birmingham, the game was a little bit more open for a 1-0 game, but at the same time, they were dealing with elements. Pittsburgh, last year's champion, they came in, they were trying to play, and for the first half, it was a pretty equal game, but again, the Rowdies found a way to take that game over. Loudoun, they were dominant. And then this game, in the game of soccer, you can strategically make a team look slow or not be able to look like a cohesive unit on offense just because of the way that you're playing defense. If you really want to pack it in and your main objective isn't to score a goal and your main objective is to play defense, you could do that and get a lot of shutouts in this sport. And that's what Jacksonville looked like they were trying to do. They had a couple moments, but for me, the Rowdies, to find a way to win in this game talks about the character of the group and just what they want to do in terms of pushing themselves forward and not settling for a result, because they are a better team than Jacksonville. I think everybody would admit that. I don't think I'm talking smack by saying that. But they could have easily just said, you know what, we're going to protect the 0-0. We're going to take the point. We'll go home next week, try to get 3 and just protect everything. But instead they were like, no, we're going to press because we're trying to win. And to me, that speaks more of the character of the team and just how this team's built and the mentality that the head coach has more than anything.
So I saw on the sidelines briefly, I didn't know, but it looks like Jamali is back with the team.
Yeah, he came back mid last week. And, obviously, when you travel like that and you're doing those different types of things. And I thought Austin played well versus Loudoun. It was a little bit of a homecoming for him for Jacksonville. So it was cool to see him get that game as well. And then for him to get a shutout, we were joking about it on Monday. They've already tied. I think it's tied. They might have surpassed how many shutouts they had all of last year. And they're 4 games into the season. So it just speaks to, the difference of the team this year and, especially defensively, what they've been able to do.
So what do we have coming up this week? I know off the field, off the pitch, we've got 90s night, which we'll get into, but the game, who do we have? We're playing Oakland this week?
Oakland this week.
That's right, I said we.
Yeah, Oakland. Yeah, that's right. Hey, we're a part of this,
that's
man.
Right.
The podcast, undefeated podcast.
Trust
here.
me, nobody's giving us credit, but we will take it at some point.
The Rowdies have not lost since you've come on board. Facts.
I can't. There's nothing I can say because it's 100% true.
Factual
Yeah, the
statement.
players, Big Russ. I mean, ever since Big Russ got the name, boom. I mean, yes, they haven't lost. There's a lot of things that we're responsible for. But this week we want to be responsible for another win. So, what can we look forward to seeing from this Oakland team?
This will be a good one. This will be a good game. They have a new head coach, Ryan Martin. He came over from Loudon. He got let go from Loudon, kind of crazy because he built that organization from like not being very good to getting them to the playoffs. But, you know, he took the job over at Oakland, and it's a team. I think their record's 2-1-1. They're a good team. They're dynamic. The way that they like to play, it's a fast-paced game. I don't expect them to come to Al Lang and sit back and play defensive.
That's a tough road trip, wouldn't you say, though? I mean, you spent some time out there in the Pacific Northwest. I mean, coming from Oakland, that's got to be a long trip for those boys.
It's a long one, so I think that that'll definitely play a factor into it. But in terms of a test in the season where, you know, it's an out-of-conference game, obviously it's a West Coast game, a team that you're not really used to seeing if you play on the East Coast, I think it'll be a good challenge for them. I think it'll be a good test. And knowing the head coach, Ryan Martin, the way that I do, I used to broadcast a ton of his games. They're going to come in here and play. Like, they're not going to sit back. They're not going to try to get a tie. Maybe if it's later in the game, they might settle for a point if it's a drawed game. But I expect the game to be pretty open. I expect it to be back and forth. And in terms of like action, I think that this will be the best one that we've had so far this season.
By the way, shout out to the Rowdies fans there. I don't know which group it was, or maybe it was just fans, but I saw that they were at the Jacksonville game. They let the colors go off and everything. Like, one lady looked like she was choking, by the way, from the yellow. I was hoping that she was okay, but man, nice to see that there were some fans that traveled there. It's always good to see the support. All right, so it's 90s night this week. So I wanted to ask, first, now your response, did they ask you, they asked you to pick some songs for the 90s playlist?
I'm not in charge of the whole playlist at all, but being the eldest statesman, I think, in my group of Marcom people, it was thrown on my plate, and it was like, hey, you got to add to this.
I mean, it's an honor to be able to pick the music, but it's also tough because they're like, you're the 90s guy. They're saying you're the older guy. I mean,
I get that a lot. I get that a lot in the office. Well, it was funny. We didn't release the clip because I didn't love the way that it came out. But 2 games ago versus Loudon, all the Gen Z people handed me a list and were like, you got to try to get these words into the broadcast. And it was like, you know, the 6 7s, the hymns, the cuz, like all these different things. And I tried to slot them in, but
really,
I got 3 of them in, but it didn't turn out. The video didn't turn out great.
I mean, that's a fun idea. I like that.
Yeah.
So, all right. So a few things that I want to ask you about the 90s, you being 90s oriented here. And then I have no idea. Evan was born in the 90s. That completely shocked me. I think just everybody was in the 2000s at this point. What was your first CD?
Oof. First CD.
Nothing popping out.
Man, I want to say it was like Hanson.
Okay, I mean that's 90s.
That's it. That seems fitting, right? I want to say that it was Hanson, you know. But I will say the first song, to give myself a little bit more like street cred, the first song that I ever requested on TRL, if you remember TRL,
of course, Carson Daly,
was Metallica, Fuel.
All right. I don't think, did they play? I don't know if they played that on TRL. Did they? Metallica? It was
the one phone call I ever made to TRL, and that's what I wanted.
Man, I'm surprised I never called them, but I enjoyed watching it all the time. So, all right. So, my first CD was Weezer, so I was very cool one. Right from the jump. What was the best movie out of the 90s for you?
Oof. I mean,
I'll tell you, mine was.
Yeah, you go first.
Mine was Fight Club.
Fight Club. Oh, yeah.
I remember I saw it in high school. So I graduated in 2000, so it was sometime in like 98 or so, and I think I've watched that the most, so that stands out.
Was Back to the Future 80s or 90s?
I mean, one of them, at least a couple were probably in the 90s, I'd say.
That was my favorite. Like growing up, I watched Back to the Future to go to sleep.
Okay,
so if that's 90s, then Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Rocky was 80s, right? Rocky had to be 80s.
You know, it transcends decades. It's really, you can't put an exact time frame on it, but I will give you Back to the Future. Favorite TV show? Anything stand out?
Seinfeld.
I got Seinfeld too.
Yeah, had to be.
Yeah, that's it. Be. So can you just tell me what you're thinking of real quick for the people? Like, are you thinking of putting Hanson Mbop on there? Are you looking to put Green Day, Time of Your Life? There's a lot, there's Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys. You could go a lot. Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit. Like, what are you looking to offer the playlist?
Well, I think that's the hard part, right? Like, what are the can't miss songs of a sporting event, 90s throwback night, right? Is it like MC Hammer? Do you got to have MC Hammer on there? do you mix it up in terms of like, the grunge rock bands? Obviously Nirvana. Is Rage Against the Machine?
Yeah.
Like, should that be on there? I think that should be on there.
Because here's what. You want people to just, they're talking, whatever, and boom, they hear it and they go, oh my God.
Love
I
it.
haven't heard this in forever, and they start going crazy. And if Shazam was still a thing, they'd hold it up being like, oh God, I forgot the name of the song. That's what you want people to, and I think when they hear that stuff, especially, I don't want to say deeper cuts, but something that's not like top of mind, like a Britney Spears song, something a little deeper than that, I think would really get the crowd going. I just put my request in for tickets, so anything you pick, I'll go extra wild for. You just tell me what songs you picked, and I'll make sure that the crowd knows that we got to get hyped up.
I like that we had this conversation before I started picking, because I would have gone basic, but you're right. I got to go deep. I got to go deep into the archives of like when people hear it, they're like,
yeah, it's just like
this takes me back to a special place in my life.
That's the great thing about music. So 90s night, like what can we expect anything? Wait, are there surprises, or we should just hold on to those and just let's show up to the game, bro. Rowdiesoccer.com for tickets.
Well, there's a certain ticket that you could purchase where you get the old Rowdies fanny pack.
Oh,
the fanny pack, a staple of the 90s, right? So you can get one of those bad boys. Hopefully I can snag one for myself for the broadcast and just rock that thing all game long. So there's going to be that. There's going to be the music. There's going to be different fun things around the stadium. And it's really just, throwing it back. And it is funny, though, because like all these players now, if they're born in the 90s, it's like a unicorn.
I know,
which is crazy.
It's just like when we were kids and they had a 70s night and you're like, oh, you need bell bottoms and you need some big afro and stuff. And now it's like, I don't know. I told my daughter it's 90s night, and I'm like, I don't know what you wear. I don't know. I mean, I was too a part of that era to really know what was happening.
It's like, what do you wear at 90s night? And I just go into my closet and I'm like, probably the things that I've been wearing.
Yeah,
for
I don't
my
know, like
whole
maybe
life.
Jinko jeans and a South Park shirt. I mean, I don't know. I can only tell you what I was wearing in high school.
You could go back. I guess you can go back to Saved by the Bell. Maybe pick Saved by the Bell a little bit. See what the outfits were at the Bayshore High School.
Get the
or Bayside.
Bayside, yeah.
Bayside.
Get the big old cellular phone, something like that, the cordless phone or whatever it was. A lot of different directions. I don't know if this is a costume party or a soccer game. It's a little bit of both.
It's a little bit of both, and hopefully I pick some songs to get people going. Now I got to lock in.
Yeah, dude, just let me know, man. I'm a big music guy, but looking to go 5-0-0, 5-0-0, right?
5-0-0, and it would match the best start that the club has had in modern history. So they're looking to accomplish something big. And more than anything, I think that the fact that they've only given up one goal in the run of play is crazy. Like, that's almost crazier to me than the fact that they're 4-0, because that's talking about you've given up one free kick, and that's the only goal you've given up. So defensively, they've been playing extremely solid, and then obviously when they're at home, offensively, they've been scoring, they got 3 goals a game in their 2 games at home. So
it feels like they have the ball, just from watching it, just casual fan. It feels like the Rowdies have had the ball the majority of the last couple of games, at least on their end.
And it's more fun that way because it's a team, I talked about it on the very first episode of this, but it's a team that they want to have the ball, they want to be offensive, and then when the ball turns over, they want to press and try to win it back. So they don't like playing defensively in terms of being in a block and just kind of sitting there and like letting the other team have the ball, so they play an aggressive style. But it's working so far so good defensively that it's like, okay, cool. Like, everybody has to be on the same page in order to do that, and that's how everybody's bought into the system. So it's been fun, man. Obviously, like, we're trying to get the word out. I still don't think there's been enough buzz about the soccer team, the professional soccer team down here, but they're off to a historic start, trying to do historic things, and it's a group of players that, if you ever listen to this podcast, they're all really bought into being a Tampa Bay Rowdy, and they came here because they understand what it means. And there's a head coach who he's doing big things. It'll be announced by the time this comes out, but Dominic Cassiato, he's going to be head coach of the month. He's got coach of the month. Obviously, they're 4-0. That makes a lot of sense.
Congrats.
Assuming Evan Conway is going to win goal of the week. Last time I looked, he was up by a crazy percentage, and the Rowdies have more fans than the other team. So There's fun things. There's fun things going on, So it's a great way to spend a Saturday night getting down to Al Lang, and especially when the team's rolling like that. The bandwagon's wide open for anybody that wants to jump in.
Well, listen, I will be there, and hopefully have my Rowdies hat for me, and I'm looking forward to 90s night, man, and I'm looking forward to talking to Evan coming up.
1997. Let's see what he remembers.
You guys are ready.
Joining us this week on the podcast, Evan, stop playing with me, Conway, the big goal scorer from the weekend. Evan, thanks for coming on, man.
Happy to be here, man. Happy to be here.
Dude, so obviously, we're going to dive into the soccer career. We're going to dive into everything, but Just talk a little bit about the impact that you've been able to have in these games, coming off the bench the way you had, and of course, it's kind of like the exclamation mark you had this weekend versus Jacksonville. What was that moment? What did you see in the goal? And then just kind of walk us through us a little bit.
Yeah, obviously preseason was a little tumultuous with a couple injuries and just trying to get healthy. So whenever something like that happens, it's just great to be able to make an impact from the bench. You know, it's sometimes tough if the opportunity doesn't come and you have 10 minutes in there. Sometimes that happens, but I've just been fortunate enough that the ball's been coming to me and I've been able to finish it.
Well, you've also like that's very nice of you to put it that way, but you've also done a good job. I always say that people that can make difference in games, if the ball's not coming to them, they have to find a way to get the ball.
Yeah.
And I think you've done a really good job of finding ways to get yourself on the ball, whether it's, dishing the ball out, getting yourself in front of the goal. So I think that that's a credit to you as well. Obviously, you're being humble and nice, but, I could talk about it a little bit differently. Like, I think that that's a credit to you because you know that you're a player that can make an impact, and players have to go get the ball sometimes. I think you've done a really good job of that as well.
Yeah. And I mean, it's been fun to play with these guys so far. I'm really excited about, like, the team that we have. Our defense has been so solid. Whenever I get in there and start playing with the guys up front, it feels nice and natural, which is really good because we're so new to each other, So anytime you get that, it's like I'm just happy to go in and be with those guys.
It's funny that you say that because we were just talking about it, how crazy it is that the team's having so much success, the team is playing well, and it looks like such a cohesive unit out there. But you guys still barely know each other.
Yeah.
Like in terms of playing together as a team, it's still relatively new. So I think that, on the outside looking in, it's kind of like, what is this team actually capable of when they really start gelling together? Is you guys kind of have that vibe too, where it's like, hey, we're still trying to figure people out, but we're still figuring out ways to win?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys with similar mindsets, like off the field as well, and the fact that we're spending time with each other off the field just translates so easily, and it's very difficult, to your point. Bunch of new guys, new team, like everyone's getting to know the coach and like just getting familiar with the club overall, and so for us all to be gelling like this is really, we give props to Dom for bringing in good guys that are willing to just like listen to what he has to say, and guys that get along.
I saw the beach picture this weekend. Were you at the beach with them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, I've been
yeah.
loving the beach.
What, the whole team went to the beach?
I don't know about the whole team, but there was a solid pic that was on Instagram. Yeah. Looked like the boys were having a good time.
Okay,
yeah.
Nice. All right, how many times did you watch the replay of your goal on the way back from Jacksonville?
A lot, especially that once the one above the bench came out, like that, like you feel all the emotions like when that one gets posted. So it's just like fun to see your boys getting up and like being so happy for you.
What was your mindset when did you know that you were going to go in, and what did you say? God, hey, look, boys, I'm going to score the game winner tonight. I mean, what are you thinking when you're about to go into the game, especially scoreless? I mean,
kind of like what Jeff was saying. You just want to go in and like make an impact, in any way that you can. And for most of that time, it was tough to get on the ball, which was the case kind of the whole game. But once that last like 10 minutes, we were really putting that pressure on, and we just they're gonna mess up at some point if we press them like that. So
that's what I was thinking about. One of the things I'm gonna break it down on social a little bit this week, but the goal came off of every player that contributed on that goal was somebody that came off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about guys coming in off the bench making an impact like that. It was one of the coaches that I heard. I forget what it was. It was like one of these MLS like hype clips that I was watching, and the coach called it. It was a perfect thing. I've never heard it before. He was like, here are our starters for the game, and here are our finishers. Mm-hmm. And it's like that type of mentality for me is like, that's exactly how you got to think about it if you're coming off the bench, because you know it's not always easy to come off the bench. Like everybody always wants to be in that starting 11, but 100%. It seemed like the guys that came in had that mindset of like, okay, like these guys started the game, they did their work, and then it's like, here are the finishers, and that's exactly what happened. So that was cool to see. I think that, kind of going back to tie this in a little bit, going back to the start of your professional career, one of the things that we read about you was that you started off of a tryout. Yeah. Like that's a very unique thing, especially when you talk about the career you've had so far. So if you can remember back there, it seems like that's something that, a lot of people can kind of relate to in terms of like putting the work in and doing what it takes. So if you can remember, man, like what was that like? What was that process like? And like kind of what's going through your head when you're going through a tryout situation like that?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know much about the professional scene really, like growing up, which I think a lot of kids in the U.S. don't really know. And so you just you start playing, you're a good high school player, you maybe play academy, you go to college, and just because it's like you're getting some tuition benefits, and,
Right.
and
That's
it
just what
kind
you're
of just
supposed
like
to do.
yeah, it kind of just like snowballed. I really relied on my college coaches to help me out, and so they set me up with this trial in Omaha that I had no idea what to expect. They were like, yeah, there's 40 college guys, you can go, like, we'll see what happens. And yeah, I think I told you I almost missed that flight, which would have been terrible. I mean, I was paying my way there. Like, if I missed that, like nothing happens after that. I was just like, all right, well, I'm gonna,
Did you feel like that was your one shot?
Kind of. I mean, I lived an hour away from Forward Madison, and they weren't saying anything to me. So it's kind of like, if this doesn't work out, I don't know what to do after this. But yeah, it was a really cool experience. I met a lot of guys through that. But yeah, they only ended up picking 2 of us from that camp, and then getting into that locker room, which I think I was fortunate because that was another locker room that was super new. It was like everyone was coming from all over. It was the first year of the team, and so it was easier kind of to mesh as opposed to like here are like the starters and here are the veterans and like go on and mix with them. So it was nice. There were a bunch of young guys, and I have a lot of great friends that I met in those times.
Were you there? I think we talked about this off of this. You were there after Dom, or you were there before Dom?
I was there before Dom.
Before Dom.
Yeah.
Okay. So were some of the guys that came from Omaha that are on the team now on that team, or did they all come with Dom?
No, they all came with Dom. I missed all
later.
those Omaha guys,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay.
What is what's the process like of a team folding, and when do you? I know.
Good question.
When do you find out about it? Is this something you know going into the season? Is it something they tell you? After the last game, is there no one way to do this? Jeff was saying you've been a part of a couple of them.
Yeah, so we'll give a little context. So
Yeah, sorry, I'm
we'll
not-
give
I'm
a
not
little
really
No, it's a
context.
good question. It's a great question.
right.
It's a great
Yeah, Evan shows up and the team folds. No, we'll give a little bit of context. So, spent time in San Diego. How many years did you do there?
2 years.
2 years there, and then that team ultimately folded.
Yep.
And then you went to North Carolina from there.
Yep.
2 years.
Yep.
And then that team ultimately folded.
Correct.
So, there's what's that like?
Yeah.
By the way, we're rock solid here, right?
Yeah,
now, right?
what's-
Are we good? Or
yeah,
is anything
yeah.
No,
clear?
we're great here. We're great here, which is why we came here. We're like, all right, this one's been around
Steady,
for a while.
right, steady.
This is gonna be
We're
good.
gonna break the curse of the Conway. No, I'm just kidding, dude.
To answer your question, it totally depends. Like when I was in San Diego, they told us probably halfway through the season, which I think it was a little different situation because that the MLS team was coming in and there was kind of that knowledge of like, are we going to be okay? And I think the owner just ended up making that decision earlier than the NCFC owner did. So it was nice. We had, everyone was trying to find a team. It was very, like, you could talk about it in the locker room.
Right.
And I went with a teammate, Colin Martin, who I played with in San Diego, and came with me to NCFC, which is nice, Whenever you're starting at a new team, if you can have, like, a couple guys that you're buddy-buddy with, like it really can go a long way. And so that was nice. That was good timing.
Well, this
Good timing
one
for
sounds
that one.
bad.
That one worked out well.
NCFC was after our first playoff win. And so we got to the first round of playoffs. We won that game. We come in Monday, I think it was. Or no. Sorry. Before that, we were told from an anonymous source, I suppose, on Sunday night before we went in. So we already knew. And then we came in on Monday morning, and he told us then. And we had a million questions. We were like, when did you decide this? All that kind of thing. But it's tough to really know. Do you get the truth? Maybe. But
Were you upset after? Were you upset finding out this way?
I was, but I was in a better situation because I already had my sights set on coming here, and so I was okay. But there's a lot of you're injured for half the season. Makes it really difficult for some guys. You have a family, you got to go find a house, a new team, all that stuff. So it's not an easy thing to go through.
So we talk about your path. We talk about your path getting here. Obviously, the tryout, the 2 teams folding, and things like that. Are there things that have happened throughout that course that you think has kind of shaped you into the player that you are today? Because I watch you and it's like, all right, this guy has some serious bite to him. Like he gets after it quite a bit, and I love. I joked about it on your entry, but I love the way you've been walking into the locker room, just yelling out, "Stop playing with me!" It freaking fires me up.
What is that? What is that?
It fires me up,
your-
man.
That comes from San Diego.
Oh, really?
A teammate
Okay.
in San Diego that was also my roommate, Cam Riley, who's just retired, but he was playing in Oakland. Great guy though, deserves a shout out for
Cam.
sure. Cam definitely deserves a shout out.
And so he would say that
He would say that all the time. Yes, and he was hysterical, and I loved it. So I stole it.
Did you say it around him?
So I took it, and now it's mine.
Did you say it around him, or he only said it, and when you left, then you took it?
I think he started saying it. He was definitely, we'll give him credit for starting it, and then I just, kind of took to it, and we spent a lot of time together, so, that's just how things end.
Well, now we got to take it and run with it and make it yours.
Yeah.
I think that's like the next step of this.
I know.
Evan, stop playing with me, Conway. I love it.
When I came in the locker room, Santi was, like, waiting for me. He's like, are you going to do the thing? I was like, oh, yeah.
Do the thing. It's your thing. That's funny, man.
Let me ask you this before I get into 90s night, coming in, up this week. Are there any of your teammates that are better than you actually realized? Anybody that you saw that you're going to play with, you're like, oh, whatever, and then you get on the field like, wow, this person is a lot better than I thought that they would be.
I would say that's typically the case, just in general, for the most part. You play against, I played against Russell when we were both in the Western Conference, and you see bits and pieces, but maybe they have an off game when you play them or something like that. And so all the front line, like I was saying, just MD and Russell have been great to play with, and then you get Seb and Carson coming up from League One, which is something that I know I'm very familiar with. And you're always impressed by those guys too. You got to work your way through the leagues, and I always love that kind of story. So I was like, yeah, come on, guys.
Well, that's part of it too, right? Whenever you watch someone or whenever you're playing against someone, you're always like, this guy's not that good.
Yeah.
And then you get him around you, and you're like, oh wow, that person actually is a pretty solid player. Yeah, he's actually as good as everybody talks about. I can't believe it.
Model my game after them. All right, so it's 90s night this weekend. I saw you were born in the 90s. I was asking Jeff, favorite movie, music, TV. He's very blurred between the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. What stands when I say the 90s to you? What are some things that you think about other than your birth?
I think movie wise, touch on that one first. I think was Dead Poet Society, was that 90s?
Sure, yeah, I think so.
I
Had
think
to be
both that and Good Will Hunting, Robin Williams in that era was unbelievable.
Okay,
I love those movies. I'm a sucker for that. I like the grunge music scene, that kind of stuff.
Nirvana type stuff. Or
yep. Smashing Pumpkins.
It's 20.
You were made for the 90s.
I was made for the 90s. Well, I had an older brother too, and so that helps. You get more familiar with the 90s, even though I kind of missed it. But you get some more of the culture.
Okay, all right.
You might have to carry 90s night for the whole group, honestly.
What's a song? Do you feel like a Nirvana song? Because they've put Jeff in charge of half of the playlist for 90s night. So I was trying to tell him people will go crazy if they hear not Britney Spears Hit Me One More Time. We've heard that, but maybe a deeper cut that we haven't heard in a long time. I think Nirvana would be. Smells Like Teen Spirit, very top of mind song, but
I think if Rage Against the Machine came on, people would lose their mind. I think that's got to be one I got to figure out how to sandwich in there.
Yeah, we can get that in there. We don't have to disclude Britney Spears either. You can put Toxic in there. Yeah. I feel like Toxic fits.
That definitely is there, but you gotta play something when Evan knows that's our shout out to him. So
all right, so let's figure it out. What's the 90s song that comes on and you hear it and you're like, all right, this one was for me. We were sitting on this podcast and this song was picked exactly for me.
I feel like you can also do, for me at the stadium, Tribe Called Quest would be cool to throw in there.
Okay, all right.
Award Tour, I think would be a good one. That's just me. Kind of veering from Nirvana, but...
What's on the playlist? What's on your playlist? Look, you got a lot, man. You're a lot
all
more,
sorts of random stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're dialing it back a lot younger than a lot older than I thought you might. Than you thought you might bring to the table.
You gotta respect the oldies. Always.
oldies.
I know it's good though. No, listen, I thought he was very respectful of the '90s. Like I said, I was surprised to see you were born in the '90s, but it's '90s night, and not everybody knows about it, but Evan does, and that's all that matters.
He does, and listen, apparently he was born and made to be in the '90s as a human being,
right.
So that's perfect.
Right. This is his night. This is
yes. All right, so just to dial it back a little bit, talk a little bit more ball. One of the things that you mentioned it in the last comment was there's so many guys from League One, right? There's so many people on this team that have come from League One, fought their way. As a collective group, is that something that you feel like it seems like every guy has a chip on their shoulder? Every person that we talk to, it seems like that's something that they had to fight to get here. Do you feel that similar around the locker room, but also for yourself? We're talking about tryout teams that have folded, and now you're an established person in this league. Is that something that's just carried with you?
Yeah, I think in almost everyone's journey. You know, you can find some sort of like hardship or adversity that they've had to come through to get to become a professional. That's just like the nature of the beast, I think. But I do think, like, personally, I identify with like that League One story, because especially early on in the league, you know, it was difficult. Like, you have to have a good team, and you have to have a couple good years, and hopefully someone takes a risk on you, and then to reestablish yourself in that next league is difficult. So I do think that it definitely builds character in you, but I also think that, you know, everyone has like some story like that, you know.
You've been able to have success in this league. Like, you're known as a goal scorer in this league. How do you keep that chip on your shoulder when you're having that type of success? And this isn't necessarily a you thing. This is more of a question for people that, you know, if there's a young player out there watching that's like, you know, how do I keep my chip on my shoulder when I'm having that success? Like, what's something that you trigger, or what's something that you go to keep that going?
I think I don't even know that I necessarily think of it that much. Just kind of going out there and training, and the level of competitiveness that there is in training every day. Like, no matter what age you're at, you know, you're competing with your friends, and if you've ever competed with your friend, you know it can get pretty heated.
Yeah.
And so sometimes that's almost the best way to like forge that tenacity almost. Is to just be dueling with your friends like at every possible moment, and then come together afterwards and be like nice, and you can give each other advice and stuff like that. So I think just the like going through the week and putting your best foot forward is the best thing you can do, really.
You guys have a healthy bit of competition with the front line?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And Dom likes to curate that also. You know,
Yeah.
He's like, everyone keep track of your goals, and after every round, he's like, how many goals did you score? And then he'll, you know, maybe give you a little stick for it.
That's nice. Yeah, I like that.
What do you think about Tampa Bay so far? Have you been anywhere stand out? Any regular spots that you're hitting up?
Golden Isle. There's a brewery right near us that we absolutely love. My girlfriend and I. We got them a flag. We all signed the flag.
Oh,
and,
cool.
And got it put up in there. So we love that spot. We love, obviously, the beach, but we kind of like to go to the North Shore Beach, the one that's right by the pier.
Yeah.
Just because we live right over there, and so we'll ride our bikes down the path and go chill at the beach. Put a hammock up, maybe. You know, we're fully embracing the lifestyle here.
Dude, I love the pier, man. I've been here for a long time, and we go to the pier, you know, every week to, you know, go for a walk like on Sunday or Saturday morning. It's awesome. And yeah, I think it's kind of like an underrated beach that's right there. So untapped.
I forgot. We're doing a fan question of the week this week, and it's in my phone. Keep talking.
Okay.
Okay. Are we cutting this out, or what? Okay. How did this fan submit the question, or or is it not a real person?
So we're adding to the podcast. Social media team's getting involved.
Okay.
So we asked the fans for a question this week. So let me see.
Better not be better than anything we've asked today. They don't have any folding questions.
Are you a reader? Are you a reader?
Yeah.
You are a reader. Okay, you seem like a reader when you're talking about those movies. All right. So one of the fans wanted to know, what's the favorite book? What's the go-to favorite book in the collection?
I just Charlie right now is reading Red Rising, which I have read the first 2 books of it. I just ordered the third because he's now on the second book, and I'm like, oh, I haven't finished the third. I absolutely love that book. I just read a Stephen King novel that I absolutely loved, called 11/22/63. It's kind of like a mix of genres, but it's about like the JFK assassination and like time traveling back to like try to stop it. It's a whole thing. But those 2 books like are top of mind.
A cultured man.
Yeah, I was
a cultured man.
Don't ask me about what I read. I'll say, I know the news, but no, I don't.
I don't even.
That was the fan question of the week.
There's a few of them, but I
Okay.
pulled that one. You seem like an insightful guy, so we wanted to pull that one out, and you nailed it.
Good choice.
Absolutely nailed it.
How would you describe your hair? Would you say it's fun? What's the best way to?
I definitely think it's fun.
Okay.
I mean, you gotta try to be a little fun with the hair.
No, it's great. It's
know?
great. It's not like a mullet, but it's cool. It's got a good vibe.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a mullet. I think technically you would call it that, but we just keep the back a little more trim because we're getting older. You know, we're 28 now. We can't. We gotta keep it calm.
I like
Keep
what
it
you
calm.
got going on. It's working out.
Okay,
So
good.
Yeah, it's got a good vibe. I will say there's the mental health awareness game. We're going to try to get something going with mustaches. And I saw the picture of you in North Carolina with the
Oh, yeah.
mustache.
Yeah.
So we might have to get you in line to bring that back for said game.
Okay. I was thinking of doing that anyway. So
Perfect.
That's
Yeah, that
I
works
good.
see a little something's
I know, yeah.
growing right there. So.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on. And if you've been watching, we end every podcast. We're trying to introduce you to the fans, trying to get the fans fired up for what to expect at Al Lang. So
Game winners.
game winners and
Game winners.
bangers. But so just a message to the fans in terms of, in your eyes, what can they expect from this group when they come out to Al Lang? What should they expect when, they see you guys take the field home, away, just what this team is really bringing to the table this year?
I think the first 4 games have really kind of embodied what I think we're going to bring the whole year. I mean, we're going to give a complete performance, and maybe sometimes we're going to leave it towards the end just for fun.
Just for dramatic purposes?
Yeah. But we're always going to be working hard out there and trying just to make the fans rowdy.
Yeah, there you go, man. We got to bring it back, make the fans rowdy. Well, Evan, I appreciate you coming on, man. Again, I don't know if you've won Goal of the Week yet, but I'm going to assume that you're going to win Goal of the Week because the Rowdies fans vote very well. But if you haven't voted yet, vote for Evan. It was an absolute banger. People are fired up. So good stuff, man. I appreciate you coming on, and good luck this weekend.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you.